Jiddu Krishnamurti was an internationally renowned spiritual figure born in 1895 in southern India, who to this present day is still considered one of the greatest thinkers and religious teachers of all time. He did not proclaim any religion, sect, or country, and always pointed out that we are first humans and do not need to identify with nationality, race, or religious beliefs. From 1929 until his death in 1986, Jiddu Krishnamurti traveled throughout the world talking to large audiences, individuals, scientists, religious figures, writers, philosophers, educators, as well as giving radio and television interviews. Krishnamurti's message emphasized the great need of a radical change for humankind. His deep insights on the nature of the human mind enabled him to deliver his talks in a fresh and direct way, making audience members feel like he was addressing them personally. Krishnamurti's only concern was to set humanity absolutely unconditionally free. His vision was for humans to have a more profound understanding of themselves and of the art of living, so as to bring about a new and peaceful generation. A compassionate vegetarian, the beloved Krishnamurti was also a founder of schools in India, the United States, and the United Kingdom. They are based on a holistic, global outlook with a concern for humanity and the environment and their interconnected relationship. The schools were established to be places where the existential concerns of life could be explored freely and responsibly. In addition, Jiddu Krishnamurti was an author of numerous books. Among them are The Awakening of Intelligence, The Urgency of Change, Freedom from the Known, and The Flight of the Ego. Today, we will have a glimpse of some of Jiddu Krishnamurti's insights from his book, The Book of Life. This book presents 365 timeless daily meditations, encouraging a wider awakening of the individual as the holder of the story of humankind. In this selection, we will learn some of Krishnamurti's secrets of the true listening of life. Listen with ease. Have you ever sat very silently, not with your attention fixed on anything, not making an effort to concentrate, but with the mind very quiet, really still? Then you hear everything, don't you? You hear the far-off noises as well as those that are nearer and those that are very close by, the immediate sounds, which means really that you're listening to everything. Your mind is not confined to one narrow little channel. If you can listen in this way, listen with ease, without strain, you'll find an extraordinary change taking place within you. A change which comes without your volition, without your asking, and in that change there is great beauty and depth of insight. Putting aside screens? How do you listen? Do you listen with your perceptions? Through your perception, through your ambitions, desires, fears, anxieties, through hearing only what you want to hear, only what will be satisfactory, what will gratify, what will give comfort, what will for the moment alleviate your suffering. If you listen through the screen of your desires, then you obviously listen to your own voice. You're listening to your own desires. And is there any other form of listening? Is it not important to find out how to listen? Not only to what is being said, but to everything. To the noise in the streets, to the chatter of birds, to the noise of the tram car, to the restless sea, to the voice of your husband, to your wife, to your friends, to the cry of a baby? Listening has importance only when one is not projecting one's own desires through which one listens. Can one put aside all these screens through which we listen and really listen? Beyond the noise of words, listening is an art not easily come by, but in it there is beauty and great understanding. We listen with the various depths of our being, but our listening is always with a preconception or from a particular point of view. We do not listen simply. There is always the intervening screen of our own thoughts, conclusions, and prejudices. To listen, there must be an inward quietness, a freedom from the strain of acquiring, a relaxed attention. This alert yet passive state is able to hear what is beyond the verbal conclusion. Words confuse. They are only the outward means of communication. But to commune beyond the noise of words, there must be in listening an alert passivity. Those who love may listen, but it is extremely rare to find a listener. Most of us are after results, achieving goals. We are forever overcoming and conquering, and so there is no listening. It is only in listening that one hears the song of words. Listening without thought. I do not know whether you have listened to a bird. To listen to something demands that your mind be quiet, not a mystical quietness, but just quietness. I'm telling you something, and to listen to me, you have to be quiet. Not have all kinds of ideas buzzing in your mind. When you look at a flower, you look at it, not naming it, not classifying it, not saying that it belongs to a certain species. When you do these, you cease to look at it. Therefore, I'm saying that it is one of the most difficult things to listen to anybody, to your wife, to your children, to your neighbor, to the bus conductor, to the bird, just to listen. It is only when you listen without the idea, without thought, that you're directly in contact, and being in contact, you'll understand whether what he is saying is true or false. You do not have to discuss. Listening brings freedom. When you make an effort to listen, are you listening? Is not that very effort a distraction that prevents listening? Do you make an effort when you listen to something that gives you delight? You are not aware of the truth, nor do you see the false as the false. As long as your mind is occupied in any way, with effort, with comparison, with justification or condemnation, listening itself is a complete act. The very act of listening brings its own freedom. But are you really concerned with listening or with altering the turmoil within? If you would listen, sir, in the sense of being aware of your conflicts and contradictions without forcing them into any particular pattern of thought, perhaps they might altogether cease. You see, we are constantly trying to be this or that, to achieve a particular state, to capture one kind of experience and avoid another. So the mind is everlastingly occupied with something. It is never still to listen to the noise of its own struggles and pains. Be simple and don't try to become something or to capture some experience. Listening without effort. You are now listening to me. You're not making an effort to pay attention. You're just listening. And if there is truth in what you hear, you'll find a remarkable change taking place in you. A change that is not premeditated or wished for. A transformation, a complete revolution in which the truth alone is master and not the creations of your mind. And, if I may suggest it, you should listen in that way to everything, not only to what I'm saying, but also to what other people are saying, to the birds, to the whistle of a locomotive, to the noise of the bus going by. you'll find that the more you listen to everything, the greater is the silence, and that silence is then not broken by noise. It is only when you are resisting something, when you are putting up a barrier between yourself and that to which you do not want to listen, it is only then that there is a struggle. Listening to yourself. Questioner: while I'm here listening to you, I seem to understand, but when I'm away from here, I don't understand, even though I try to apply what you have been saying. Krishnamurti: you are listening to yourself and not to the speaker. If you are listening to the speaker, he becomes your leader, your way to understanding, which is a horror and abomination, because you have then established the hierarchy of authority. So, what you're doing here is listening to yourself. You're looking at the picture the speaker is painting, which is your own picture, not the speaker's. If that much is clear, that you're looking at yourself, then you can say, well, I see myself as I am, and I don't want to do anything about it, and that is the end of it. But if you say, I see myself as I am, and there must be a change, then you begin to work out of your own understanding, which is entirely different from applying what the speaker is saying. But if, as the speaker is speaking, you're listening to yourself, then out of that listening, there is clarity, there is sensitivity. Out of that listening, the mind becomes healthy, strong. Neither obeying nor resisting, it becomes alive, intense, and it is only such a human being who can create a new generation, a new world.